are the biggest gaming leaks and news you've probably missed this week. But first, a word from our sponsors.
These nuts. Got him! Got him!
By the way, I finally set up a new $1.99 membership tier called Why Not? It's literally the tip jar tier. You get a badge, emojis, and access to polls, and it helps keep the channel sponsor free. My promise is simple. For every $1 that comes in, I'll put another $1 back into the channel. So if you've ever thought about supporting, hit that join button. Rumor, Returnal coming to Xbox. That's the headline that lit people up. And honestly, X is such a comedy show when stuff like this drops. People go full detective mode, others lose their minds, and some actually take it as gospel truth. I mean, people really get their gaming news from here, and that's why it's so damn entertaining to watch. And that's exactly why I made up my own fake rumor about Uncharted 4 coming to Xbox. I literally wrote, my uncle works at Sony, my aunt works at Microsoft, and suddenly it looks like an insider scoop. Totally fake, totally nonsense. But it reads just like half the news posts you see blowing up on here every day. That's how low the bar is. It doesn't even have to make sense. The best part is watching how fast people take the bait. Within minutes, you've got arguments, console war threads, and full-on meltdowns over something that was never real to begin with. It's like throwing a spark into dry grass. The fire spreads instantly. You'll see comments like, well, if Returnal's coming, then Bloodborne's next. God of War will hit Switch in a month. At that point, it's not journalism. It's fan fiction. But people treat it like breaking news. The funniest part is the sources game. Everyone's got an uncle, a cousin, or a friend of a friend who supposedly knows what's coming. If Returnal was really coming to Xbox, you'd hear about it from Bloomberg, IGN, Jeff Grub, Jason Schreier, someone legit, not from a random X account farming engagement. The silence from actual outlets tells you all you need to. Helldivers 2 is officially teaming up with Halo, and we're getting a full-on ODST Legendary Warbond dropping August 26. Yeah, you heard that right. The Helljumpers are landing in Super Earth. So here's the deal. This isn't just some small cosmetic drop. This is the first ever Legendary Warbond, and it's stacked with Halo ODST-inspired gear. You're looking at iconic weapons like the MA5C assault rifle with the ammo counter and compass, the M6C SOCOM pistol, rocking a suppressor for stealth runs, the M90A shotgun with a flashlight so you can watch the bugs panic before you blast them, and even the M7S SMG with a built-in suppressor. Basically, you'll feel like you just dropped out of a pod onto New Mombasa. And the armor? Man, they nailed it. The A9 Helljumper set gives you that classic ODST look, while the A35 Recon set is sleeker, stealthier, and still rocking that feet-first passive, meaning less noise, better scouting, and no busted legs. Oh, and yeah, there are ODST-themed capes, player cards, titles, even a mean green skin for your vehicles. Here's the catch, though. Since this is a legendary warbond, it's priced at 1,500 super credits. Just note, it doesn't work with the new premium warbond token, so you'll need to buy it straight up with credits. I was honestly hyped for this ever since those rumors started flying about Helldivers 2 hitting Xbox. Like, an ODST crossover just made too much sense, right? But then I saw the price tag, 1,500 credits. Man, that's kind of pushing it. You can just tell they knew players would want this no matter what, so they cranked the price up. Especially with Halo being tied in, they know the Xbox crowd is gonna jump on it. And let's be real, this probably isn't just Arrowhead deciding this. Sony wants their cut. Xbox wants theirs too, because it's Halo IP, and we're the ones footing the bill. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but it feels like both sides are trying to squeeze every drop out of us. What do you guys think? Worth it, or are they cashing in too hard on the hype? So here we go again. Cory Barlog drops a little bomb on Facebook, and instantly the internet's on fire. He says Santa Monica Studio is working on a new project, calls it technically ambitious, and even says it's something that's not easy to achieve. Oh, and he throws in 2 heart emojis at the end, like just to tease us a little bit more. Classic Barlog move. move. The kicker? He calls it a new IP. That's huge, because for the past decade, Sony Santa Monica has basically been synonymous with God of War. Kratos, Atreus, Norse mythology, that's been their bread and butter. And now suddenly, they're talking about something brand new? That's a big shift. What's interesting is how careful the wording is. He never actually says this is Santa Monica's only project. For all we know, one team could still be handling the future of God of War, while another is off building this mysterious new IP. It wouldn't be the first time a major studio split its resources like that. And let's not forget, Barlog's been hinting at this for years. Even during God of War Ragnarok, he said he wasn't directing that game because he was busy with something else. A technically ambitious something else. And now it's starting to look like we might finally see it this year. That phrase, technically ambitious, is worth pausing on, because it doesn't sound like just another action adventure. That sounds like a project pushing hardware, maybe even experimenting with new systems we haven't seen before. Could be open world, could be sci-fi, maybe even something in the live service space. Hard to say, but the way he frames it makes it clear this isn't small. And timing-wise, it lines up. Ragnarok's DLC came out, the dust has settled, and Santa Monica has been super quiet ever since, which usually means something big is cooking behind the scenes. When a studio like this goes dark, it's not because they're sitting around, it's because they're building something massive. Now, of course, fans are torn. Some people just want God of War to keep rolling. Others are hyped to see Santa Monica spread their wings with a fresh IP. Personally, I think it's the smartest move they could make. If you keep milking one franchise, eventually people burn out. A new IP shows that Sony's still willing to take risks. So, after years of delays and is this game even real conversations, Lost Soul aside, finally has a locked-in release date. PlayStation just dropped a brand new trailer, and yep, it's launching August 29th. That's right around the corner. Honestly, after watching this project disappear and reappear for nearly a decade, seeing an actual date feels surreal. The trailer itself focuses on Arena, that dragon-like companion who basically doubles as a shape-shifting arsenal. You've got Arena claws, ripping enemies apart, crystal blasts, sending out waves of orbs, mountain break, summoning spikes of crystals from the ground. It's flashy, over the top, very Final Fantasy meets Devil May Cry. Visually, it looks like chaos in the best way. But here's the thing, fans aren't entirely sold, and I get it. The combat looks flashy, sure, but flashy doesn't always equal depth. I saw Reddit comments comparing it to Forspoken, which is basically the kiss of death these days. People want to know if there's substance underneath all the spectacle. One comment nailed it. If there was ever a game that needed a demo, it's this one. Facts. After all these years of waiting, players want to feel the combat, not just watch another highlight reel. And honestly, given how much doubt surrounds this game, a demo could be the difference between hype and hesitation. Now, let's talk additions. Standard version, $59.99. Digital Deluxe, $69.99. With cosmetics, boosters, a soundtrack, and an art book. Pretty standard stuff for 2025 pricing. But considering this isn't a household name like Final Fantasy or Elden Ring, I can see some players being cautious about dropping extra cash. What's wild is remembering this game started as a solo developer project back in 2016. Yang Bing was making this thing on his own before Ulti-Zero Games formed around it. Fast forward to now, and Sony's publishing it as a console exclusive. That underdog to main stage journey is insane, but it also explains why people are skeptical. Big visuals, small team. Can they really deliver on the full package? So, Sean Layden, yeah, the ex-PlayStation boss, came out recently and basically said the quiet part out loud. We've plateaued in gaming tech. That's it. The big leaps are gone. No more PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 kind of shock moments. No more jaw-dropping, wow. This feels like a whole new generation. We've hit a ceiling, and from here on out, the gains are going to be smaller and smaller. And you know what? He's right. Think about it. We're at the point where people are arguing whether 90 frames per second looks that much different from 120. Like, that's the war now. Tiny little numbers on a spec sheet. Meanwhile, your average gamer doesn't even notice the difference unless you put two screens side by side. Layden's whole point is that instead of chasing this endless arms race of more teraflops, more pixels, more hearts, maybe it's time to make things things cheaper and simpler. Stop pretending that another 10% bump in GPU speed is life-changing, and start focusing on giving people accessible, affordable hardware that just works. And this isn't some salty back-in-my-day talk either. He's pointing at a very real trend. Consoles are basically the same under the hood now. PlayStation, Xbox, even handheld PCs like the ROG Ally or Steam Deck, they're all running on AMD silicon. The hardware is interchangeable. The differences come down to ecosystems, services, and the games themselves. So why keep hyping a spec war that doesn't even matter anymore? But here's where it gets interesting. Layden's also saying the real shift we need is away from bloated 8AA budgets and back toward mid-tier AA games. Stuff like Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 that proves you don't need a billion-dollar budget to make something creative and fun. He thinks developers are just tired of making the same cookie-cutter open worlds with cinematic bloat. And honestly, I don't think he's wrong. Because what happens when you plateau technically? You have to innovate somewhere else. And that somewhere else is game design, art style, systems, new ideas. That's where freshness is going to come from, not whether your shadows are ray traced in 16K. And of course, he had to weigh in on AI too. Everyone's screaming, AI will save development costs. Layden's take, chill. He compared AI to Excel. Like, yeah, Excel made accountants faster, but it didn't mean you could suddenly hire a random person off the street to do certified accounting. AI is a tool, not a replacement. You still need the knowledge, the creativity, the fundamentals. It's not a magic wand. So if you put it all together, what Layden's saying is actually a bit of a wake-up call. The era of chasing hardware specs is done. We're plateaued. The next big frontier isn't shinier pixels, it's better ideas, and hopefully cheaper and more accessible ways for people to actually play them. And honestly, I kind of love that take, because instead of another $700 box promising cinematic immersion, maybe the industry finally has to go back to what made people fall in love with games in the first place: fun, creativity, and variety. And if that means more AA-level experiments, more unique ideas, and less pressure on studios to spend $500 million making the next blockbuster, that sounds like a healthier future for everyone. You know what's kind of shocking? Assassin's Creed Shadows actually did it. Like, despite all the noise, all the hate, and people literally making it their full-time hobby to trash this game online, it's thriving. For months, we've seen the discourse, people calling it woke garbage, boycotts, trending, and anti-worker types on Twitter acting like they were personally going to shut this game down. And yet, here we are. Shadows is the best-selling new release of 2025 in Europe. Not only that, it's actually second overall, only behind EA Sports FC 25. That means it outsold Monster Hunter Wilds, Mario Kart World, and Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2. And in the UK, it had the biggest physical launch of the year, even beating Star Wars Outlaws. And if that's not enough, the global numbers are nuts too. Ubisoft didn't brag up front. They stayed quiet, which kind of made people think the game wasn't doing well. But turns out, Shadows hit 1 million players in under 24 hours and 2 million in just 2 days. That's actually faster than Origins and Odyssey. So yeah, all those people screaming boycott didn't matter. The brand is just too big, and people wanted that Japan setting bad enough that they showed up in droves. But here's the twist. The game's not just selling, it's reviewing pretty well too. Critics are saying it's one of Ubisoft's most polished Assassin's Creeds in years. Combat feels tighter, stealth actually matters again, and the world of feudal Japan is just stunning. Windows Central even said after 112 hours of playtime that Ubisoft really cooked with this one. And the big complaints that usually come with Ubisoft, like bugs and broken launch performance, honestly, this time, those are minimal. Ubisoft's also been supporting it post-launch in a way that feels like they learned from past mistakes. They dropped Nightmare difficulty with patch 1.06, which adds tougher AI and limits your defenses, plus a collab mission with Critical Role. Another patch brought auto-follow horses, better loot management, PS5 Pro spectral super resolution support, and snappier UI shortcuts. And next month, they're adding a map reveal QOL update where syncing a viewpoint will auto-unfog the area, which, let's be real, should have been there from the start, but it's nice they're addressing it. And the roadmap? They've already confirmed New Game Plus, new open-world activities, and a big story DLC called Claws of Awaji, dropping in September. No Discovery Tour this time, but there are are hints the old-school Assassin versus Templar narrative might sneak back in down the line. Oh, and a Peggy leak suggests it might even come to the Switch too. Imagine Shadows on a handheld. Okay, so let's talk about this because everybody's been buzzing. The Black Flag remake. And yeah, at this point, it's not even a question of if it exists, it's a question of when Ubisoft's gonna stop pretending it doesn't. Here's the deal. Internally, it's codenamed Obsidian. It's not just a lazy upscale. They're rebuilding this thing on the upgraded Anvil engine, the same one running Shadows. So expect sharper visuals, smoother combat, probably more fluid naval mechanics. Basically, the definitive way to play Edward Kenway's story. But Ubisoft's been so cagey. Like, leaks have been everywhere. Even little stuff, like suspicious updates on the Steam page for the original game. And then you've got the PlayStation backend leaks showing activity tied to Black Flag. Fans are connecting dots, and it's hard not to. And then there's Matt Ryan, the guy who literally voices Edward Kenway. He basically hinted at the remake during an interview, then said Ubisoft threatened to sue him for blabbing. Like, come on, when actors start getting gagged, you know something's real. Now, the rumors say they were aiming for a November 2025 release, but Shadow's delay earlier this year apparently shuffled some dates around, which is why people are speculating we could finally see this thing during Gamescom opening night live today. Ubisoft loves a big mic drop, and what better way than bringing back the pirate era that people still call the best Assassin's Creed? So what are we actually expecting? A modernized version of Black Flag with next-gen graphics, maybe refined stealth systems, smoother naval combat, and quality-of-life changes that make it feel fresh, but still faithful. Don't expect Shadows-level RPG mechanics, though. From what's leaked, they're keeping it more in line with the original experience. Now, here's the big question. Does it show up today? Honestly, it's 50-50. Ubisoft's been playing this super close to the chest, but the timing feels right. Shadows is already out there making noise, and slipping Black Flag Remake into Gamescom would keep that Assassin's Creed train rolling all year. If it doesn't show up now, I'd put money on it dropping at the Game Awards later this year. So yeah, the remake is happening, Ubisoft's just stringing us along. But I want to know what you think. Do you want to see it today during Gamescom? And if they do show it, what's the one thing you want to see upgraded the most? Naval battles, parkour, or just a full visual overhaul? Let me know, because if this thing pops tonight, I want to see who actually called it. If you enjoyed this video, hey, maybe drop a like. It really helps a lot and tells me you want more. Subscribe for day one gaming leaks and news, and check out these videos you probably missed. Trust me, they're worth it.